Jason, I moved closer, and it's just
I already talked a little earlier, but after 9/11, in the weeks after 9/11, my friend John Perosi was actually, he was supposed to be on one of the planes. He was supposed to be on the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. But he had left the night earlier to get to Hawaii. He's a filmmaker, and he was shooting a commercial or something, but he'd flown to Hawaii. And he called me that morning at 9/11, and he said, I'm coming, and he wanted to know if I'd drive with him to New York, because his car was here. He had a house here and a place in the West Village. And so about a week after 9/11, or maybe, a few days after 9/11, it was my girlfriend's birthday on the 14th, and we had already planned to have people visiting from out of town and camp up in the park. And like you were talking about, there were no airplanes, which was so strange. It was so surreal. It was completely like we were on a planet, a silent planet up in the park. And then sometime right after that, there was the Graham Parsons Festival came through town, and it was planned already, and it was at the saloon, and it was at the Crossroads and the Beatnik, and so there were, and I remember we were all kind of really relieved to see people. I don't know, just here in Joshua Tree, it was a relief to see that there were. It was the first time ever, really, because I'd lived here for several years at that point. And it was the first time where I really saw people kind of like us, people walking in the sidewalks. And everybody was just kind of like, it was the first time that people left LA, I think, after 9/11 to, to leave town and to go hear music. And it was really interesting. And so then John and I got in the car and drove to New York. And we both kind of went there thinking, like I went there thinking, I want to go volunteer, I want to do something. Yeah. And got there and was just so devastated that even weeks later, and we, like, the night we got there, we went to his apartment, and we were sitting there for like 5 minutes, and we were looking at each other. It was like 3 in the morning. We're like, I have no idea, but I'm not going to be able to sleep. And so we drove down to the perimeter, and then we saw the policemen who were just wiped out, and they were on the, around the perimeter of the World Trade Center, and they were really sweet. They were so kind, and they were like telling us, well, you can sort of see from over here, you can't go any farther than this. And the thing that really struck me were, all of the missing posters everywhere. That was unbelievable. And just being there, even though it was weeks afterwards, a few weeks afterwards, and this smell that you were talking about. And, I was staying up on 19th Street at my friend Lovey's, and it was like every once in a while, right when the sun was going down, it seemed like the wind would shift, and you'd get that scent, and it was just so horrible. And I was buying T-shirts, and Levy was like, we've got to go to Chinatown and buy some T-shirts, because nobody's going to Chinatown, because it's like so close. So we went down to Chinatown and bought a bunch of T-shirts to send to friends here. And we went to the post office by her place on 22nd, I think it was 21st or something like that, post office. And that day, and went up to the counter, and the woman at the counter was wearing a mask. And I was like, why are you wearing a mask? She said, and later on the news, it was the post office where they thought they'd found anthrax the first time that day. It was just so surreal. The whole thing was just so otherworldly and horrifying. But I just want to say that there was kind of a moment there, Halloween, the big Halloween parade from Christopher Street and Greenwich Village, and people really were out that night, and really, of course, the costumes are brilliant because people spend all year working on their costumes. But there was just one really. Cipro was the drug that was the Cipro made by our friends at the Bayer Corporation. I have a whole history that I'll share on another day about that. But Cipro was the drug that was the only antidote known for the anthrax, right? And of course, Bayer owned it, whatever. But so there was a show on Broadway, The Producers. That was the big popular show at the moment. Well, just to lighten it up for just a minute, there was someone dressed in among the costumes that I saw somebody that was wearing a snow globe, and she was Statue of Liberty in a snow globe, and as she walked, the snow would fall on her. It was so ingenious. It was really great. And then there was a man dressed as a doctor, and he had a sign that said, "We'll trade Cipro for tickets to the Producers." Anyway, that's my 9/11 story. Except, you know what else, Sherry? Interesting coincidence was that Fred Drake's beautiful CD, the Twice Shy album, also we had planned to have the record release party on 9/11 at the saloon, and of course we went anyway, and so all of the TVs, it was so sweet because none of us had TVs, you know, being here in the desert, and so it was so surreal because all of the TVs around the bar were showing the buildings, and anyway, so another record that came out that same day was Bob Dylan's record, Love and Theft, came out the same day. Yeah, and we'd gotten it like the minute, you know, and the song can never hear it without thinking of that. But the song where he sings "Summer days and summer nights are gone."
Exactly.
Anyway.
You guys sing.
3 great records came out that year.
It's a poem that I wrote several years back between 2001 and now, somewhere in between. And I have to give you a little background. You probably see it, probably a little bit of it with a haircut on, or service, and so you probably say, "Wow, you can say something like that." Well, I have mixed feelings about everything that went on right after that, and still do today, but supported what we did. But this came out of a few years ago in the LA Times. A gentleman, he threw here before that, I believe, once. And he had this model of a bomb, an atom bomb type thing. And he took it across the states, and he was asking for people to write poetry about it. And but you couldn't use the word bomb in the poetry. So I took that and ran with it. But I'd have to explain it unless you really quick, hear the words or follow the words, because there's 4 stanzas, and the title and the 4 stanzas each start with B-O-M-B. I did not use the word yes, but I put it in there. And as I was telling Andy last night, I took free rein with, if that's the right wording, with literary prose in a couple words, because I could not find the exact word, and it said it didn't exist, but I did it anyway. But anyway, it's very close, but I'll read it. Benevolent Overtures, Machinate Brokerage. Title: Bring about peace in our lifetime. Overtures to peace are so sublime. Maybe a grassroots effort is the ticket, but we must be Gandhi-like, not snippet. Bursting with enthusiasm to the end of ridding the world of the nuke trend. Muster the courage to make a stand, being ever vigilant for a cause so grand. Bent on bringing about universal love, only through a transcendent awakening, motivating the establishment to make a move. Bringing about a universal end to it unceasing. Believe world consciousness is possible, offer up prayers to our Maker, mandate our leaders to see the plausible betterment of mankind is the determinator. And that's it.
Is this yours, Dan? Thank you for choosing. Many's the time I've been mistaken, and many times confused. Yes, and I've often felt forsaken, and certainly misused. Whoa, but it's alright, it's alright. I'm just weary to my bone. Still not back to be bright and beautiful, so far away from home, so far away from home. I don't know a soul who's not been battered. I don't have a friend who feels the need. I don't know a dream that's not been shattered or driven to its need. Whoa, but it's alright, it's alright, 'cause we've lived so well, so long. Still, when I think of the road we're traveling on, I wonder what's gone wrong. I can't help it, I wonder what's gone wrong. And I dreamed I was dying, dreamed that my soul rose unexpectedly, looking back down at me, smiled reassuringly. And I dreamed I was flying high up above. My eyes could clearly see Statue of Liberty sailing away to sea. But I dreamed I was flying. Come on the ship they call Mayflower. Well, come on the ship, the sail